Hello, happy Monday. Okay, so today we are going to be continuing our work on proportions. So every problem that we set up will still be set up as line equals line, just like we did on Thursday and Friday. Now, because we're working specifically with percents, we're going to have an additional rule for our setup. On the left side, we're going to start with our part in the numerator and our whole in the denominator. Meaning the part of the problem that we're focused on versus the total or whole amount in the problem. On the right side, we're going to have our percent, which is sometimes given, sometimes not, over 100. It will always be over 100 because the whole of any percent, this is still a part, being the percent, and the whole amount for every percent is 100. So the 100 will be there for every single proportion today. Starting with this first problem, it tells us that 40% of the cars in the parking lot were American-made cars. If there were 60 American-made cars in the parking lot, how many cars are in the lot? So we have to figure out, okay, if we're working with part over whole equals percent over 100, we're trying to fill in these three empty spots. We're trying to fill in part, whole, and percent. We were given a percent, so we know that that's going to go, that 40% is going to go over 100. And then we found out that 60 cars were American made. This is not every single car in the parking lot, so it's not going to be our whole amount. It's just the part that we're focused on for this problem. And we're trying to figure out what is the total, what is the whole amount. So we can start with a question mark there. Once we have our proportions set up, it's just like normal proportion work. So just like on Thursday and Friday, we're multiplying for the first wing, 60 times 100, and getting 6,000. And then dividing for our second wing. So taking that 6,000 in the house and 40 outside. I've been asked by a couple people to stop giving answers in the videos. Oh, sorry, my table's rickety. To stop giving answers in the videos. So I'm actually going to let y'all solve that division by yourself. If you have any questions on any of these problems and you just want to check your work, you can check when you come to small group. So moving on to the next problem. What is 30% of 210 marbles? When you get problems like this that aren't full word problems, so we don't have all of the extra information about cars, American-made, parking lots, all of those extra words that give us more information, we still have to set up part over whole equals percent over 100. But now we have to use these really small context clues to figure out, okay, what is my part, what is my whole? Again, we were given a percent, so I know that that 30 is going to go over the 100. So I know 30 is going to go here. And then it says of 210 marbles. Because it says of, we know that this 30% is part of the whole amount of 210 marbles. So instead of this W, I can write 210. And we're looking for our part. I don't know how many marbles 30% is. I just know that it's 30% of this 210. So again, we're multiplying for our first wing. We get 210 times 30. And then we're going to divide that on our second wing. So dividing by 100. For our next problem, 15 is what percent of 20? Again, we have this word of, so that tells us that 20 is our whole. So if we're filling out part over whole equals percent over 100, I know that 15 is my part. So 15 over 20, the whole. We knew that 20 was the whole because it came right after the word of. If it comes right after the word of, it's got to be the whole thing. And then we don't know our percent. It's asking us what percent over 100. Multiplying for that first wing, we would get 1,500 and dividing by 20 to find our final answer. Last question I'm going to go over is Marty has read 32% of his 400-page book. We see that keyword of, so we know that 400 is the whole book. We want to know how many pages has he read. So he's read 32%, but we don't ever say, oh, I'm 32% of the way through this book. We usually tell, like, Miss Barr, Miss Mendoza, oh, I'm on page 75. So that's what we're trying to figure out here is what actual page number is he on, not the percent. So we're still writing part over whole equals percent over 100. I know this feels repetitive, but it's every single question today. The part, we don't know. The whole book is 400 pages. We know he's 32% of the way through out of a possible 100%. We're multiplying 32 times 400. So 32 times 400. And going to divide by 100 to find our final answer. Your last question about lumber is going to be the one that's on Google Classroom. These classroom questions, some of us have not been answering, and I'm actually going to change them into being a quick quiz grade to kind of encourage us to answer those questions, because I do want to know how we're doing and how we're progressing in our STAR prep. So all of these Google Classroom questions, we do one every day. All of them are going to be combined as if they were one quiz. So like if you missed today's question, you're not getting a 0 on your quiz. But if you missed every single question for all of our STAR days, then yeah, you'd probably struggle on that quiz. So each question will be treated as an additional quiz question. At the end, your grade will be totaled based on the ones that you answered correctly. So if you haven't answered a question, you just forfeited that grade. You just said, like, I'm just going to take a 0 for that question. So if you need to go back and answer any questions, they are still posted. If you're not sure if you're missing any questions, you can ask me and I can let you know what you've turned in and what you haven't. At this point, all of our questions are graded and returned to you, so you should be able to check if you did turn it in, if you got it correct or incorrect, and if you need to make any corrections online, you may. If you have any questions, again, bring them to the small group, and I or Miss Hughes can answer them for you.